Okay, confession time. I admit you were right and I was wrong. 100% binocular overlap in VR is possible. But let me update you a little to begin with, and please pay attention. Last time we aimed for a wider field of view with the DreamAir and we sacrificed some of the binocular overlap to somewhat reasonable levels, I think. That's the trade-off, going from 92% overlap at 103 degrees field of view to 80-something and ending up at 74% overlap with 120 degrees horizontal field of view, which is a little bit extreme, but it works. It gives you a wider field of view, which is cool of course, but we also know that this could cause 3D depth to feel somewhat flatter. At least for some people, it can introduce warping, and for others, long sessions in VR can feel more tiring by increasing image separation, which a wider field of view does. Wide field of view is simply not for everyone. That's why I also said that 110 degrees or so is probably the sweet spot of VR of the DreamAir. Now, you heard me saying that my next mission was to reach depth max, an attempt of maximizing the stereo overlap or binocular overlap. That's the portion of the view where both your eyes see the same thing simultaneously, the area of the view with natural stereoscopic 3D depth. So me and my good old friend ChatGPT sat down together again, and eventually we achieved a binocular overlap I wasn't even expecting with the DreamAir. Not 95%, not 98%, a full 100% binocular overlap. Literally MRTV Sebastian's wet dream. And the crazy part? This is not a hack. It's not a broken profile with the crossed-eyed image causing eye fatigue and giving you that classic MRTV Marco feeling every time he jumps out of VR. No, geometry here is literally spot on. No distortion or warping whatsoever. And nope, peripherals are not cropped on the sides to fake the full overlap, if you know what I mean. Here, we are utilizing real 100% stereo overlap that is super comfortable for your eyes. So, how did we do it? We started by looking at the previous base profile, especially the default one used at CES with 103 degrees field of view. It has 103.15 degrees horizontally, 88 degrees vertically with 95.15 degrees of overlap. That's roughly 92% overlap, which is already a very good dose for the big overlap junkies. But we wanted to push it even further, or I wanted that, towards the theoretical limit of above 95%, or at least that's what I was hoping for. The problem here was earlier profiles we tested the depth max on didn't feel as correct as the stock profile. World scale, controller alignment and the overall geometry felt slightly off upon every attempt, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't perfect either. Then I received the latest version of the default profile JSON from the Pimax engineers. Thank you guys! Still a 103 degrees horizontal field of view profile, but with some minor improvements and correction. And that's when everything clicked. That profile apparently includes updated calibration values and it's clearly tuned for correct geometry. It is optimized for 99 horizontal degrees field of view per eye or per panel. And I know that is on the lower end, but either way, we decided to throw everything else away and work with these new default parameters. Now here's the important part. To increase binocular overlap, we need the left and right eye views to come closer. In practice, that means reducing the toe out or the view separation in the distortion profile. And after some further research, we realized that by changing one specific parameter, meanwhile keeping the rest of the calibrated profile intact, we could gradually increase overlap without breaking the geometry. First, we aimed for something that we called Depth Plus mode. That gave us 101 degrees horizontally and 97 degrees overlap. That's about 96% overlap, already a big jump from 92 and already more than I believed was possible. Yeah, previously AI or ChatGPT told me 95% is the max overlap, but never mind. Then we tried the next step, setting both eyes to 0 toe out. AI gave me some new calculations and at that point I was just playing along. this is just way above my head. I loaded that profile, I put the Dream Air on my head, made some tests and totally approved that what I saw. It looked great. Curiously, I took off the headset and glanced at the numbers in HMDQ. 99.15 degrees horizontal field of view rendered per eye and 99.15 degrees horizontal total field of view, which means 99.15 degrees overlap. In other words, every degree you see is seen by both eyes. Fully stereo, maximum 3D depth. The geometry is correct. 3D depth is perfect, or even better or deeper than ever, and I see no distortion or warping at all. So what does this mean in real use? The best way I can describe max depth or full binocular overlap mode is it looks more real. Objects feel more solid, distance feels more consistent, panning and pitching feels perfect. And if you care about VR desktop use, reading or working with professional work in VR or long simulator sessions maybe, this is the kind of profile that can make VR feel more natural with less potential fatigue. Then there's the obvious trade-off, right? I mean, there's always a trade-off. To get 100% overlap, we reduced total horizontal field of view from default 103 down to 99 degrees. So yes, it is a slightly narrower field of view, but in exchange, you get the stronger stereo depth and overlap the headset can physically deliver. In fact, it is possible to get depth max on Dream Air right about 101 degrees horizontally as well by tweaking some numbers, but that profile turned out not as perfect in my opinion. Most people probably wouldn't see the difference, but I did, and honestly, 99 horizontal degrees versus 101 horizontal degrees, you would probably fail in a blind test anyway. So there it is, mission accomplished, and this profile has been sent to the Pimax engineers for evaluation. As a side note, I will probably redo the wide field of view modes again using the same base profile now, because I believe we can achieve even better results at, let's say, 115 or 116 degrees and above, of course, in terms of perfection of geometry correction. And this looks very promising for the upcoming shipping of Dream Air this month. So here's my conclusion. Dream Air can do two things extremely well apart from its advertised 110 degrees field of view, of course. Max depth mode with 100% overlap and perfect geometry without any warping. And two, a wide field of view mode from all between 115 up to maybe 120 degrees as we saw last time, at least if we push it to the limits and can live with some less perfect geometry maybe. And that will also show the full potential of the Micro-OLED optical stack, because all these profiles and modes will work on both the Dream Air and the Super Micro-OLED optical engine. And if you ask me why so many modes, that's because different users want different things. Some people never change settings and just play VR games. Just go with the default profile. Others prefer maximum immersion and a wide field of view. And then we have guys like MRTV Sebastian craving for maximum stereo overlap. And now finally, I think it looks like we can offer something to all of them. Guys, thank you for watching, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment if you have any questions. Stay tuned for some very exciting announcements soon, and I'll see you in the next one.